Mr. Henry Kwek.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to declare that I'm an advisor to the Federation of Merchant Association, an industry association that helps the SMEs in our heartlands transform and thrive. I stand in support of the amendment bill as it provides very timely and needed support to our heartland enterprises. ROS is a wonderful program to ensure that our heartland shops remain relevant. Now, in general, heartland merchants are very appreciative of the government support, and frankly, we know that how many governments in the world proactively think about how to ensure that micro enterprises, which many heartland enterprises are, thrive in both good times and bad. Just think about the massive help that the government provided during COVID and the CDC vouchers that get Singaporeans to spend more time at the heartland shops. Now, the enhancement to the RHS is very much welcome as it's aimed at overcoming the main obstacles to implementing the ROS, which is garnering sufficient support from merchants to implement the program. I must stress that the existing effort by HDB, both in terms of funding, roadshows, and the time put in by the HDBs to do outreach is very useful and appreciated, and we certainly hope it can continue. I'd like to make 3 suggestions centered around how to generate support for the ROS. Firstly, we can strengthen the partnership between HDB and the Merchant Association's MAs to persuade the shop owners. HDB, not MAs, currently writes to the owners. But some owners are very hard to reach and are not interested in responding to letters if they do not know much about the program or what is at stake. It is also very hard to put down all these complicated details and address concerns using letters only. As such, I think many MAs can hope that HDB can explore how we can better work with MAs to jointly reach out to the shop owners so that the MAs have a chance to appear in person or at least speak over the phone and make a compelling case for the support of ROS. The second point I would like MND to consider is, can HDB consider excluding the no response from the vote if more than 70% of the shop owners have responded? Now, in the long run, the upgrading of an area has huge implications to the vitality of the businesses and the livelihoods of the people employed by the heartland merchants. And if a place fails to have a chance to do ROS, we know that it's quite difficult for the ROS to be revisited for foreseeable future because there's so many other places that wants to do ROS. It's not like an en bloc, where you can have repeated attempts to do that. So that's why it's essential for the majority who are usually for the upgrading to go through. And by not counting non-responses, we can put in the right incentives for all the owners to respond, and we're not depriving the owners of their voice. The third suggestion I have is, it would be wonderful if HDB can work with the MAs to come up with a low-cost preliminary design concept and detailed out the work that will likely be done so that the shop owners will know what they are paying for. Now, from my understanding, the usual process is for the government to hire an architect to come up with the plans after an upgrading is confirmed. But from the perspective of, let's say, somebody sitting on the fence, they will be more likely to be convinced if they have more information about what will be done. Now, let me move to a different point, which is, what is the right percentage of support for ROS? I'm aware that some heartland merchants would welcome a threshold of 60% to determine whether a place can undergo ROS. Some even tell me that 50% is the appropriate number. They tell me that based on their experience, the support from certain trades, mainly chain stores, clinics, that have either strong branding, independent of the heartland locations, or do not require much infrastructure to attract businesses, usually are a lot less interested in supporting upgrading. Now, the MA's concerns are valid, but I also understand why HDB would prefer the 75% threshold, as 75 is intuitively a fair number and is in line with HDB's very successful HIP program. That's why I suggest the 3 earlier suggestions on generating consensus using the 75% rule proposed today. But I do hope that after a few years down the road and after 1 or 2 rounds of ROS, HDB can then review whether this 75% threshold is the best options. Now, beyond these 3 suggestions on generating consensus, I also like to suggest that HDB consider prioritizing ROS projects that can be added on to existing upgrading efforts, be it a ROHS effort to revitalize a town, or when there's a plan by the local town council to do extensive renovation at the town centres. There's a lot of fixed cost when it comes to renovating common areas, especially common commercial areas. And when we can combine fundings from various schemes, it will be quite possible to achieve much better outcomes. Now, in conclusion, the amendments proposed today are excellent moves that will help spur heartland merchants, MAs, and HDB to revitalize the vitality of heartland shops. And with that, I stand in support of the bill. Thank you.